of the Tales of Agmar podcast. For another time, I'm your host, Sinjin, and today we are continuing the journey into Gander's story. This is part 3, so if you have not listened to parts 1 and 2, then I would highly encourage you to do so, as it covers a lot of the background information that you're going to need to understand a lot of the characters that we're going to talk about here, as well as like where we're at. In addition to that, if you have not listened to any of the Ellonist Republic specific episodes, I would encourage you to do so, whether that's before or after you listen to this episode, that's up to you. But just that you are getting a lot of the information that goes around about this faction, who they are, you know, kind of why we're in space in Tales of Agmar, which is a sci-fi fantasy podcast. And yeah, also, if you are curious, this part does pick up right after where last week's ended, so don't need any more introduction aside from the fact that we do have a couple people that are unnamed right now. They're going to stay unnamed for this recording, but in the future I will try to get them all names, or at the very least identify them somehow, just because I feel like identifying your sort of NPC characters and at least even giving them a name and a bit of a backstory can really give a lot of depth to a world. So we are going to get there eventually, but we got a lot of other world building to cover, and so yeah, that's where that's all at. And then if you are curious about the upcoming book that I'm working on, Tales of Agmar Gambit, I think it's going quite well. We're getting very close. As we get closer to a day when you guys will actually be able to read a good selection of the chapters, the way that I have it blocked out right now, we're going to have close to possibly over 60 chapters, maybe a little bit more by the end of me writing and fixing everything. But anyways, we'll release a couple of those chapters and you guys will be able to read them for free somewhere on the internet. I'm still thinking Royal Road, but if there's other suggestions that you people have, I am more than welcome to accept those suggestions as usual. But if you want to interact more with me and the entire world of Agmar as we get closer to that, then the Discord is the best place for that right now. It's going to be free if for whatever reason I drop the chapters before I do another one of these episodes. Not that it's going to be that close, it's still a couple more weeks out, but right, if I'm going to drop on a different day than a Monday, then I would let you guys know through the Discord when that's going to happen. I want to get it out as soon as possible, just to give you guys tons of time to read it while I do my edits, so that many people can finish that section, get you excited for the book, but also so that it's open for feedback from you guys in case there's anything interesting or kind of too weird where you're like, hey, Sinjin, that didn't really work out. For me as a reader, that'd be good to know, right? Just because as an author, you get a little biased towards your work sometimes, and sometimes you just read over something like, oh, it makes perfect sense in my head, but when you write it on the page, it sounds really weird. So any of those things that you guys can catch, I am more than happy to, take those suggestions. Excuse me. So anyways, please join the Discord. Like I said, it's free if you're interested. That'd be fantastic. Love to interact with you guys on there too, as well as any comments that you have about this cast or any other episodes of the cast. Please feel free to drop them. Also, this cast currently really isn't monetized, so it's a strain on my own resources and time and efforts, etc., etc. But the Ko-fi, we're just kind of running that as a tip jar at this point. So you'll find it also in the description along with the link to the Discord. If you're liking what you're seeing and you feel like you want to donate, you're more than welcome to. But that's that. Anyways, with all of that out of the way, let's get into more Tales of Agmar. I think I got it, Gander said. They had half an hour before class. Oh, Mace said. What is it? We can use the same tactic we used earlier on Jereb during the practice battle. This plays into your whole setting a trap idea? Yes. He pointed a celebratory finger at Mace. Jereb is going to drop pod down, right? Right. So, we won't really be able to tell where he's going to land until it's too late. That is the idea behind that kind of insertion, Mace said. Well, we already know that that's what he's going to do now, Gander stated. True. But in this case, we know what we know. That still means it's going to be a surprise where he lands. And also when, Mace stated. He could land under the cover of trees, in an open plain, or on a mountain with a view of the entire area, easily giving him an advantage. That is correct. But what if we play with more of where he thinks we are? Okay, interesting idea, Mace said. Explain more of it to me. We convinced a number of our classmates to create a fake base camp in a somewhat hidden but evident spot. Then the rest of us will hide in other areas, doing our best not to engage the seniors until they have found the base camp, Gander said. An interesting tactic, Mace interrupted. Definitely not one that you see in the normal Ellonist playbook. And that is exactly why it will work, Gander said. Now, let's head off to class. They continued walking down the hall with 25 minutes left until the simulation would begin. On the way there, Mace had another question for Gander. Hey, began Mace. What are the simulations like here? Back on the colonies, it was mostly a simple game of tag we played with some low-powered laser emitters that were mocked up like weapons. Gander froze and looked at Mace. So, laser tag. I mean, he waved his hands a little. You could call it that. Well, he continued, you're in for quite the surprise then. And why is that? Mace said. You guys shooting real guns at each other? Gander laughed. Not exactly. You'll understand more of it once we get into the simulation room. They restarted their long walk down the identical halls. That sparked another question of Mace's. This building is super disorienting. How do you find your way around? He asked. Oh, just little signs along the walls. Gander pointed towards the walls and corners of the hallway. After searching a little bit, Mace noticed that there was some very small lettering. A little bit lighter than the wall, kind of hard to tell against the gray background. Those are super small, he said. How is anyone near the building supposed to get around? That's the idea, Gander said. The architects of the building thought that by hiding the directions of where to go, attackers would be disoriented and it would make it easier for a smaller defending force to hold the academy. Dang. Are they that worried the rebels will get this far? Mace commented. Some people are. You'll find that many people here are wary of the colonies, the colonists from them included. Is that why they assigned you to be my guide today? Mace asked. Gander thought for a moment. That suspicion definitely could have been why he was asked to shadow Mace all day. Perhaps, he said. He tried to move on. So, does this mean all of this ends tomorrow then? Mace sheepishly asked. What makes you say that? Do you think I'm only your friend because the school officer asked me to? Gander was starting to worry that he was losing his only friend and possibly also his only ally for the upcoming operation. Yeah, the thought has occurred to me a number of times throughout today. I just thought I would ask. That made Gander pause again. He checked the time. They only had 15 minutes left. He could spare a few to help out his new friend. He turned to face him. Mace copied the movement. No, he stated. The whole reason for us meeting doesn't change the fact that we are friends in my eyes. The word felt strange and foreign in his mouth. Never before had he had a friend, someone he could actually talk to and hang out with, or that listened to him ramble like Mace had for the past while. It was starting to feel real to him, and he hoped it would never go away. That's, Mace paused to collect his thoughts, actually really refreshing to hear you say that. Oh, good, Gander said. Now we better hurry. Class will be starting soon, and we don't need you getting a mark or expulsion order on your first day of classes. The two shook hands again and finished their walk through the grayed out hallways. They entered class with a few minutes to spare before the bell rang, allowing them to find seats in the back of the room. Soon, that bell rang, and all the spots were filled. The class proctor then walked out of a hidden office space. Good afternoon, young minds, his voice rang out. Today we have a special surprise waiting for you. The statement caused a slight chatter to erupt across the room. Before it could escalate, however, the instructor calmed the class down. All right, he said while waving his hands. It's nothing too fancy, so don't get your hopes up. The chatter stopped soon after. Then he continued. Today, you will be participating in a simulation with the senior class. Again, chatter erupted across the room, this time louder, as it slowly escalated to a higher decibel. Silence! I've not yet finished the briefing. The next person who talks will receive a mark on their permanent record. The class quickly quieted down again. Now, the instructor continued, you will be against the seniors. deploying from our side of the test field. Starting, he looked down at his watch. Now, you have 20 minutes to suit up, plan, and execute your first move. Now go. The class sprung into action. They all began to line up and exit the classroom off to the left side. Once Gander and Mace made it through, Mace started looking around. Are we in an armory? He asked. There were suits of marine armor off to the left, and to the right a plethora of rifles and other military hardware, as well as a requisition desk along the outside wall. Yeah, Gander said. Go find the armor locker that has your name on it and put it on what you find inside. After that, in one of the pockets of the suit you put on, you should find a card. With that will be your loadout for this mission. It's randomly generated by the school simulation AI. Oh, great. What do I do with that? You just bring it over to the robot at the rec desk. He'll cover it, Gander said. Students, a feminine robotic voice said, you have 20 minutes remaining until the enemy is deployed. I would suggest you hurry. And that would be the AI I just mentioned. Whoa, this is way different than the colonies, Mace said. Gander shrugged. Benefits of obeying the law. You get access to more things Ellon the more Ellon you become. Was that some business slogan? What are you now, a sales rep instead of a soldier? Mace joked. They both laughed before parting to find their lockers. Gander walked up to his, putting on the now familiar weighted suit. It was made to look and function similar to the standard Ellonist marine armor set. However, instead of real armor plates, it was just weight. Kind of morphed into the shape of what the real plates looked like. And the student rifles that the academy used were only somewhat similar to the real ones. While they looked at and functioned very similar, they fired a different kind of ammunition. And while that ammunition flew the same, and hit similar too, it didn't cause any real damage. The only difference really being that it didn't cause severe injury or death. All the time. Though rare they had been, there were some cases where students lost use of limbs for a few days and sometimes even received severe broken bones. The suit they were provided did all it could to prevent injury to the wearer, but that hadn't stopped all of it. It also had some unique benefits for training. Instead of students normally just being hit and out, like what happens often, they could lose limbs in a simulated sense, meaning they could lose a leg and not be able to walk, have to be dragged off by their teammates, or they might lose an arm, making it impossible to use it for the rest of the simulation. This made it so that while they received the pain and could feel, or at least have a sensation of the limb being gone, they didn't actually lose any, allowing the Republic to keep more recruits than they used to. Gander looked at the loadout was to receive. It consisted of a standard 2 grenades, the main assault rifle, some reloads to go with it, as well as the standard wrist console. Typical loadout. Very, very usual of the system. By the time he was done, the AI sounded off again. Attention, students. You only have 15 minutes until the enemy makes contact. He headed off to the requisition station to acquire his materials from the robot there. It was an older scout model that had been reprogrammed to serve as a quartermaster, thus allowing the school to avoid paying an actual human and making it so that the military had access to more humans that were specifically trained for the role. After sliding his car over the desk to the bot, he received the items on the card off the same counter. He mounted the reloads in their appropriate places, and then proceeded to lock and prime his weapon. After that, he stashed the grenades in their assigned pouch. 10 minutes remaining. He was running out of time. There wouldn't be enough time to gather everyone together to go over his plan. It would just have to be executed with a smaller team. It'd be a lot easier for them to move that way too. Gander was out at the muster point when he saw Mace approaching him. All right, his friend said. I've got everything I need. What's next? Well, we won't be able to tell everyone about the plan yet. Some are still getting ready. He pointed over to the group of people in the back of the armory, still struggling to fit the suit to their bodies. A shame, Mace said. What's the plan then? Standard tactics? involve using as many people as you can in a coordinated large-scale defense like this. It sounds like you're going the opposite direction. I am, Gander quickly agreed. And now we're changing it up even more. Jereb will be expecting a large force, so we'll just make a small one. What did you end up with, by the way? Mace opened his arms to reveal his equipment. I have the diplomat. He motioned at the shotgun he was given, and the standard issue sidearm, as well as multiple reloads for each. Oh, any good with either of those? I need to know your strengths, so be honest with me, Gander said. Very much so, Mace replied. My father's unit was part of the first few to test out the diplomat during its initial field test. Gander nodded to himself while thinking. Then he noticed someone eyeing the scout rifle she had been given. Using his wrist-mounted console, he invited her to join them, then scrolled through the list of 50-plus cadets in their class. From there, he selected 2 more that had rifles, loadouts similar to him, rounding their squad out to 5. After that, he looked up at Mace. Then Mace pointed at the console on his wrist. What's that for? It's a wrist-mounted console, he said. It looks like the real thing, but the most we can do is coordinate with other cadets or use it to interact with equipment that's on the field. Gander continued. Yours can do the same. Here, accept the squad request I just sent you. Mace looked down and noticed that an alert had appeared on his screen. A pending request to join a squad. He hit the accept button. Perfect, Gander said. Let's wait and see if the other people I invited will join us. But until they do, he flipped through some pages on the console. Let's see if we get access to the environment map. He checked one last area. Thankfully, it contained the map. Looks like we do. I'll paste it up to our helmet displays. Roger that, Mace said. A 3D map of the surrounding area appeared in both of the boys' helmets. Pretty cool, huh? Gander asked. Mace was enthralled by the map. Most definitely, he said. Where are we? Good question, Gander said. He flicked some controls on his wrist, and the map zoomed in on their current location, as well as that of their squad mates. Looks to be right here, he told Mace. We've got the advantage where Jereb and his crew can't drop in behind us, but we don't know much else about where they could land. Students, 5 minutes remaining, came the AI voice. We're getting close, Mace said. Did those other people accept? It would appear so, Gander said. We'll try to pick up more as we go, but let's head out. Their new squad members were beginning to close in around them, many of them knowing Gander. Is this the new guy? One of them asked Gander. Yeah, he said. This is Mace. Nice, very nice, another said. You 2 friends? The girl with the scout rifle asked. We most certainly are, Gander said. I didn't know you had any friends, one of the guys remarked. I mean, said the other one, we don't know much about the guy anyways, just that he's been the top performer since our junior academy days. I'm pretty sure I'm allowed to keep some things to myself, guys, Gander said. Fair enough, the girl stated. What's the plan, though? I know you must always have one. It's simple. We take out Jereb, he said. The other 3 froze. Say that again? One of the guys said. Yeah, the other stated. Did you really just say we're going specifically after Jereb? Yes. Yes, I did, Gander said. He let it slip during lunch today that this was happening, as well as telling us how they are inserting. He did? The girl asked. How are they doing it? By drop pod, he said with a grin on his face. Great, and how does that help us? One of the boys asked. Because now we know how they're inserting. We may not know exactly where, but they're going to have to drop in and regroup, Gander continued. I may not know to what extent they're used to the shock of that kind of insertion, but usually people are stunned for a few seconds after. We can use that to our advantage and take them out. Okay, but how does that help anyone? One of them asked. Why is taking out Jereb so important? You guys know him, Gander said. He's going to make this all about him. He'll have made a plan and put himself at the center of it all. If we take him out before it gets rolling, then we have a major advantage. Again, fair, the girl said. Now, how are we executing this plan? I kind of have a bone to pick with Jereb too, so I'd like to see this happen. Perfect, Mace said. Same here, and I've only been here a day. The entire group laughed a little. Gander connected everyone's helmets to the map using his wrist console. "All right," he said. "Here's the play." Okay, thanks so much again for listening today, guys. I cut just a little bit short. We're about to get into a whole big plot point, right? That whole big battle. That's going to pick up next week. We will, from right where we ended, we're going to start again. So please follow, turn on those notifications so that you know when it's going to be dropping. Just some random tidbits about how everything is going, since I didn't really talk about them earlier. I'm writing a lot every week for the cast and for the book as much as I can. Actually, probably averaging right now almost 10,000 words, if not a little bit past 10,000 every single week, to try to push this out for you guys. And that's mixed in with everything else I'm doing in my life. So I'm really excited for this. It's getting really, really exciting over here at Tales of Agmar HQ. And I sincerely hope that you will join us for what's going to be a long and really exciting journey into this world. Just so that, in case you don't know, we are dropping episodes every single Monday at 7 p.m. Just like this, we're going to be rounding out this origin story for quite a while. Still have a few more characters to go over. We might get a little light on Mace. If you guys would like to see that, let me know in the comments below. And yeah, thank you again for listening. Until next time, this has been Sinjin with Tales of Agmar. And wherever you are, be a good one.